and I am positive for stage 2 breast cancer at the time. And, the word cancer is not easy to hear. And I think for a moment, I completely just zoned out. The first thing I told the doctor was, I have small children.
From the boardroom to the community, from tech startups to mental health advocacy, Myra Maloba presents to you the Women Per Excellence podcast. Each week, join the queen of interviews as she takes you through visionary women who are breaking barriers and leading change. Together, let's amplify these remarkable voices, inspiring the world, one story at a time.
Hello, everyone. We are officially on episode 7 of Women for Excellence. Always excited to be here. Always grateful to be in the presence of phenomenal and powerhouse women. We are always about celebrating women in leadership, telling their stories, as well as seeking to inspire through the conversations we have on the podcast. This is a Pink October month. We are all about breast cancer awareness, and that's a conversation we're going to be having today. But as we get started off, be sure to follow Women Per Excellence on all platforms. We look forward to interacting with each and every one of you. We stream live, we stream on YouTube every Mondays, and the part 2 on Wednesdays at Women Per Excellence, and on all your major DSPs, that's Spotify, Apple, and wherever you like to hear your podcast from. So yes, as I said, we're all about Cancer Awareness Month, and today's conversation is Conversations Beyond Cancer, and we have a familiar face with us as well as a psychologist. I'm excited to introduce Eva Givuku, who is going to be joining us, who is a cancer survivor. And we also have a psychologist with us, that is Myra Maloba, and we'll be delving more into what it is they do as we start off the show.
I am a credit specialist. Mm-hmm. I work in lending. I lend money. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking for a loan, yes, I am the person who looks at your documents, right, and I decide whether you will pay back the loan or not.
Or not.
Yes, and I have had the privilege to be a credit specialist for the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
And new to the podcast, we have Myra Maloba. Maybe you can expand a little bit on what you do.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say thank you for having me here as well. I feel honored to be here, to be part of the conversation, especially this being the Cancer Awareness Month. Yes. I'm a counseling psychologist by profession. So with my day-to-day work involves just seeing clients, and apart from that, also coordinating counseling services where I work. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's an honor to have you here as well. I think many a times we take also the conversation with psychologists a little bit like we don't tend to look at also the mental well-being other than just the physical aspect. So it's great to have you. I'm really excited to have this conversation because, as we said, it is the month we're observing breast cancer awareness. So Eva, let's start with you.
Yes.
When were you first diagnosed?
Yes, I was first diagnosed in August of 2023. Mm-hmm. It was a very interesting discovery. Of course, I discovered I had a lump, and then I went through the usual checkups. I started with a mammogram, then I did an ultrasound, then I eventually did a biopsy. Interesting though, my biopsy came out negative.
Oh.
When I started. And then my doctor, who I am very grateful to him for insisting, he insisted we do a surgery to remove the lump. And it's after the surgery that when they tested the lump, it was now found to be, positive for cancer.
Wow.
So I learned that, to be specific, on August 23rd, 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
What emotions did you go through at the time?
you know, as I said, I had gone through the whole, you know, I had done a mammogram, I had an ultrasound and a biopsy, and they're all negative. So even as I did the surgery, which in fact I delayed a bit, because obviously I'm a Kenyan, and there was no urgency at this point. So I knew I was fine. In fact, when I was going for my last, visit after the surgery, just to check how I was healing. So I knew it would take me 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So I didn't even go with anyone.
You went by yourself?
I went by myself.
Wow.
I did go with my husband though, but he stayed in the car because there was such parking problems.
Oh, wow.
So he decided to stay in the car and wait for me because it was supposed to be a short visit. And surprisingly, when the doctor, you know, he was very calm about it. He first, you know, told me about my surgery and, you know, I had healed well. And then that's when he broke the news that they got the results back.
Right.
And I am positive for stage 2 breast cancer at the time. And, you know, the word cancer is not easy to hear. And I think for a moment, I completely just zoned out of my own life. And I think I just started seeing my future, which at this point was 0.
Right.
Because, you know, when you first hear you have cancer, you actually think you're going to die. And, you know, so I was quiet for a moment. And the first thing I told the doctor was, I have small children. And he told me, yes, and you will be there to see them grow up.
I like that, doctor.
Yes. And it was just, you know, in the movies when they show, you know, those emotions where so much is happening in someone's brain.
Yes.
That is what was happening to me. And I suddenly had no strength to do anything. And as I said, the doctor was very kind. She just told me, take your time. Don't worry about anybody waiting for me at the reception. I am now here with you for as long as it takes. Of course, you know, you have 1,000 questions. You know, you hear about cancer, but you don't think about it. It's just one of those things. It's sad, but until it happens to you. So, of course, I could not ask anything at the time. I didn't even know what to ask or where to go. I just sat there for an hour and just looked at him. And he gave me lots of positive stories for that 1 hour.
Right.
Yeah.
First of all, we should be thankful for caregivers and people in the profession who actually care, because you do hear a lot about some medical practitioners and professionals who tend to not know how to truly handle people emotionally. I think maybe this is a character thing. You can't blame everybody for having the emotional depth, but yes, you become grateful when you come across somebody who is emotionally there for you.
Yes, for me, I have to say that day was a very big day for me, and I'll forever be grateful to my doctor because he told me, you know, things have changed. Treatments have improved. The management of cancer is so different from what it was 10 years ago. And, you know, he just kept telling me. In fact, to this day, whenever I meet him, I always tell him his words were, we are going to hit it hard.
I love that.
And he kept saying, we are going to hit it hard. Now we know we're just going to hit it hard. And so he just told me that's not the day to make any major decisions. If he asked me if I was okay, if he walked me through the next steps, and I told him that would be nice, even though he told me I don't have to do it, you know, the next day. But now the next steps were, of course, I needed to do more testing because, as I have come to learn, you know, cancer is very individual. There is no, you know, the kind of treatment you get is specific to Eva because your strands and the kind of cancer you have are very different from somebody else. Even though I had breast cancer, if you put 10 women with breast cancer, we all have a different thing from each other. So we needed to test to know the specifics of my cancer. And so he just wrote for me the tests I needed to do, and then told me if I had any question or anything I needed to know, even if it's in the middle of the night, I call him.
Yeah.
And I went home. And as I said, I have children. And so on my way home, of course, now I met up with my husband who was
Right.
waiting at the parking lot. And I didn't say anything. I just entered the car and we drove a bit. And then halfway, I just burst out and started crying. And of course, he pulled over. So I told him. So I had to compose myself before I got home because I wasn't ready to tell my kids yet. So I composed myself. I went to my house and it's like nothing had happened. At the time, I was working. So I needed to let my boss know at least. So that's the first. In fact, the first call was to
your boss.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Fortunately, she was also very understanding. And to this day, even I don't work with her anymore, but whenever we talk, because she follows up on me, and the first thing I always tell her, when I first called her, the first thing she told me is, let's pray.
I love the support system that was around you from the moment the news broke for you.
Yeah.
And question to Maureen, from your experience, is her reaction, what she went through, normal? What are the normal emotional responses when one finds out that they have cancer?
Okay, wow. Eva, what a powerful testimony there. What usually happens, like what she has explained, basically that is what is expected, a normal reaction to that particular situation. We call it an abnormal situation, but a normal reaction on the psychological point of view. So we expect someone to have a shock. She said she went quiet for about 1 hour without saying anything. Also, sometimes we find people being angry, perhaps maybe at themselves or maybe God, asking themselves questions. Why me? Why now? She has small children. Why did you just choose now when I still have some time to raise my children? A lot of anxiety. Maybe if we were to ask her father, she would tell us maybe she started anticipating what next for me, in terms of treatment and all that. And so there's also a lot of bargaining. Sometimes, why maybe not now? Can it wait? Maybe when I'm at this particular time of my life, or maybe when my kids are somehow grown, for it to happen. Yeah, so I would say that's just a normal reaction, and I'm glad that she had a very good support at that particular time. Someone just, the doctor rather, gave her enough time just to internalize the news, and I'm sure that really meant a lot to her, even maybe as we get to listen to her journey.
Right.
Yes.
Before even we go on with Eva, there are probably women who are watching this and they're wondering why they didn't get the same from their doctor. Why do you think in some situations there isn't that human aspect when it comes to the medical aspect of it?
I would say what anyone would wish for, in fact, anyone in the medical field, to be empathic and all that. However, not everyone is oriented that way.
Right.
So sometimes how the news is presented can be a bit very, very tough for someone to receive in the first time. But the good thing that I see these days is that a lot of doctors, especially oncologists, have gotten other training, especially on the psychological part of it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because we also have a program that trains caregivers. Yeah, so we managed to incorporate them just to see how they can onboard the clients when they get the actual diagnosis, and even how they can even assist them to break the news to their families or maybe their significant others. Yes.
Eva, how did this now impact you going forward? How did it impact your lifestyle? How did it impact your relationships?
Interestingly, the doctor who broke this news to me was actually a surgeon. Because you see, I had come from surgery, so it was not an oncologist yet.
Wow.
So at this point, I have not even met an oncologist yet. But he did suggest to me, several oncologists that I should see. Of course, with his knowledge, he knew who to recommend. So I chose an oncologist, and then he gave me an idea of how the treatment plan would go. He is a breast specialist. So I think he's dealt with a lot of these things. So my next move now was for me, I call it, you have to make a decision, because the world of cancer is very different, and it's very long, and it's not easy. So you have to have a meeting with your mind,
Right.
and make the decision that I'm going to take on this treatment regardless. Because I've heard of stories where people learn they have cancer and they choose not to take treatment because, they don't want to deal with it. But for me, I had to. I got a lot of support from my husband, who, of course, also told me we are going to fight this. At this point, you're a basket case because, you don't believe you're going to get out of this. So he kept telling me, we are going to fight this, we're going to do this. So it's to make the decision. The next step is now to discuss your treatment plan, how it's going to go, where you're going to do it, which doctor you're to do it with. And so the next 1 month, because there's a lot of testing, which would take time. There was one test I remember, it took up to 3 weeks, and which was the most important. I think it is called immunohistochemistry or something like that. So that one took like about 3 weeks. So once it finally came out, then now we sat down with the oncologist and planned what I was going to do. And I remember the first day I sat with him, the days he would give, I was going to do chemo for up to, it was even 6 months. Because I was going to do, at the time they told me I would do 16 chemo sessions. I actually did 16 chemotherapy sessions, of which the first 12, I would do them weekly. And then the last 4, I would do them at the intervals of 3 weeks intervals. And then after that, I would take a break. Then I would do surgery again, because you remember I started this with a surgery.
Right.
While I was healing in that 1 month, the tumor grew again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's how fast cancer spreads. So at that point, mine was deemed to be very aggressive, and so we needed to jump on the treatment pretty fast to avoid it, transferring to another organ. So hence the reason I had to start with chemotherapy. So, of course, here comes the financial impact of it also. Because now when you meet the oncologists, they do the maths, they are able to figure out what chemo medicines you'll be taking, what else you're going to be doing. I have to thank them, though, because they have very good estimates that help you plan. They work with people. These days, they have social workers. I think that's what they call them. And the social workers are now to help you with the hospital aspect. Because you see, chemotherapy is done in hospitals. It's not done in a doctor's office.
Right.
So they help you with the hospital aspect. They let you know what it entails, what drugs you'll be taking. Of course, the names are very big. I remember none of them. And also they give you the costings for the whole thing.
Right.
Yes, of course, it's not cheap.
So, mentally, what toll did it take on you? Because now here you are. Yes, you've told your boss.
Yeah.
But there's still the financial aspect.
Yeah.
There's still the aspect of earning a living. How did you organize yourself mentally, if at all?
And I think what I would say, at first you're very confused. You don't know what's happening. But then you have to get a grip of yourself very fast. Because remember, starting treatment quickly is very important. Because as you're taking time to make these decisions, this disease is in you. And anything could be happening. And that's what the doctors kept telling me. So I don't know. I think it's God, because I really got a grip of myself pretty fast. So I've informed my boss. And now I knew the days I would be taking treatment. They said they would support me. I now needed to figure out my financials. I tried my insurance, which at the time, of course, found some technicality.
Of course.
And, they could not cover the treatment.
Right.
I wanted to be very annoyed and yell at them. Then I realized I didn't even have the energy to do that. Then the next thing was to figure out how I will do this, how I will be going. Remember, we are all now employed in this house, but now there's a disruption of when this will happen. One chemotherapy session will take about 4 to 5 hours.
Wow.
So that's a moment that needs to be taken.
Right.
And then finally, there was the aspect of my kids. I needed to somehow communicate to them, because in a very short while, my life would change.
Right.
When the treatment started taking effects on me. So I had to start explaining to my kids. I started with my older one, who at the time she was 14. So I chose to tell her, because I thought she would understand, because she was doing biology in school. So I explained, the whole treatment thing and what would happen. My small ones, I didn't want to use the word cancer on them. So I didn't say to them.
You just told me
I just told them, Mommy will be taking a couple of treatments, but she's fine. And that was that. And now it was to start the treatment. So I had my schedule. As I said, there's a social worker. So they schedule you in. I chose a day. I chose a Friday. I don't know why. So I used to do all my chemotherapy sessions on Friday. Fortunately, my job was an online job. So I would still be able to work.
Right.
But up until now, it's all a plan, until you take the first session.
Right.
Yeah.
Maureen, she's described a whole wealth of emotions. You first have to carry it for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you have to think about now the impact on your family, on your children. How, is there ever a formula for navigating for somebody who is going through the motions? And for the cases you come across, how do you help them kind of prepare them to navigate through all of this? Because it's all at once. It's all coming at them at once.
Okay, so unfortunately, as you put it, it's like everything coming in at once, and it can take a toll on someone's mental health. What we do as now on the mental health aspect is to look at the wellness. So we don't concentrate on the pathology. We tend to focus more on the wellness of the client, who is now the patient. And one important thing that we encourage, or rather we support clients towards, is to see if they can get to the acceptance part of it. Just acknowledging that this is a reality. This has happened, because it is through that then they will be able to get in touch with themselves and also get to see what they can do as far as the seeking treatment and working with the significant others. So that's a very, very important aspect that has to come into place first. They need to accept themselves, accept the situations, go through the fear, go through the anger. Of course, not like a one-off stop, but it's a process to get there. But once they're there, then because they're not living in isolation, then it would also be good for them to talk to their caregivers, the people around them, for support and also just for reassurance, because now they're going on a journey where they would also require a lot of support from them. So it's better if they're also aware, a part of the journey. I also appreciate how she managed to share with her children, just to give them the age-appropriate information. That was really good, because it doesn't take at all only on the patient, it also takes a toll on the family members
Right.
and the people around them.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the times they tend to be more affected even than the patient.
Yes.
Yeah, because they also go through a lot of emotional and psychological issues that needs to be taken care of. Yeah, so once someone has gotten there, then as they also continue with the medication, or rather the advice from the doctors, we now come in to find out how all that is going on. They're being told today we need to do this, tomorrow this needs to be done. It's a shocker. There's a financial implication. There's also their health.
Right.
So we are never too fast to take them to accept, because we also look at that as a sense of a loss.
Yes.
Like health.
Yes.
Yeah, dependency. From dependency to being dependent to other people. So there's some sort of loss, a lot of anticipation and anxiety. So we just treat each case as an individual. Yeah, but once someone has accepted, then it makes it easy now for us to journey, because we'll get now to formulate a treatment plan
Right.
for them,
Right.
on how we are going now to work with them.
She mentioned social. I never knew there's social workers when it comes to, and that they're being provided now in hospitals. What does that look like? Social work when it comes to cancer.
I guess basically it's just to provide to them a safe environment. This is a new norm for you.
Yeah.
We are now here to help you navigate the process. Any uncertainty that you have, then they're there to support.
Yeah.
They're there to help them navigate through the process.
Right.
But ideally now we also need to have a psychologist there on the
Yes.
standby,
Yes.
now to work on the process now.
Yes.
That comes with it.
Yeah.
Because the social work is just the support that you require.
Yes.
Yeah, about the scheduling, maybe about meeting with the doctors, any environmental aspect as far as your condition is concerned.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess that's where now they come in to support them.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, societal wise, I think, because, I have the benefit of having the conversation with you before. You said you are at a point where you are living a very high lifestyle. And that suddenly had to change.
Had to change, yes.
How did you deal with society? Because with society, there are two or three different things. There's culture, there's religion,
Yeah,
and there's perception, if I'm not wrong.
yeah.
How did you navigate around all these things? Because especially human beings, yes, it can come from a place of concern, but at the same time, you're like, why are you asking me these questions now? Don't you see where I'm at? Like, how are you navigating that?
Yes, and in fact, I wanted to write about that because I think for society it comes from a point of not knowing. And I think it's also a shocker, especially to the people around you. So in terms of, you also have to plan how to break the news to everybody. So the next after my immediate family was to break the news to my extended family. You know, my in-laws, my aunties, my uncles, you know, to let them know that you're sick. And the reactions are very different. For some people, you know, they're like, but we are behind you, you know, we're going to fight these. Others, there are some who will just not know how to deal. And they keep quiet and they may look like they're not supporting you. At first, you're very annoyed. You know, how do you not support me? And then with time, I came to realize I just didn't know how to deal. Then there are those that look at you like you're dying and you're gonna die. Wow. You know, and yeah, and you just have to accept. That's just how they can deal with that kind of news.
Right.
But I have to say I'm very grateful. A good number of my friends and my family were very onboarded onto what was happening now. And, there was always there, of course, your life is going to change. So, people are concerned with, even I was concerned with how I will manage my house now.
Yeah.
Because, I may not be able to do what I do for my kids.
Right.
So I need to have the right people near me. There's also a lot of driving back and forth to the hospital. As much as my husband was there and ready to do it, he also has a life and other things he does. And as much as I would want him to stop, he cannot stop his life for a whole year. Because, this whole process is not a short process. So also finding people to support him and that kind. So it is a plan, and it is a lot of conversations and a lot of things that you don't understand. But once I started the treatment, things sort of fell into place.
Right.
So as I said, I would go for I started with chemotherapy, and my sessions were every week. As I said, I said my cancer was very aggressive. So the oncologist suggested they hit it hard line. So the weekly chemotherapies.
Right.
So that would mean having to go to the hospital every Friday morning, reach very early, used to be there by 7, and then get set up. And then start the medication. It will take about 3 to 4 hours. Then, before you do your chemotherapy session, they do tests, which you have to do the day before. So that's another visit to the hospital. At this point, please know I really do not like hospitals because I visited them for very many times. So I would go to hospital on Thursday, have my blood drawn, because when you're doing your chemotherapy, because of the effects of that medicine, it's very strong and it destroys a lot of good things in your system. They have to check your kidney function, liver function, and your total blood count.
Right.
Every time. If any of those are off, you cannot take the treatment because this treatment can kill you in the event something is not right in your system.
Right.
So they first, as they say, it's so funny, but they say chemotherapy is not an emergency. Your health first. So you remember Maureen mentioned it is a loss.
Yes.
Because it changes your health. I was an otherwise very healthy person. Up until that time, the only time I had been to hospital admission was to get babies. It was a cesarean. Otherwise, I've never been sick beyond a cold.
Right.
So getting to a point where you're being tested every week and you're told your blood count is going down, your platelets are dangerously low, your immunity is very low. I had to wear masks after, we left masks in 2020, but I had to wear masks because your immunity is very low, which means you can catch anything
at any time.
Yeah, so you're also discouraged from being out and interacting with a lot of people because also at that point when your immunity is so compromised, if you get an infection, it will only take very long to heal. So there's that part now. So I couldn't be in supermarkets. I couldn't be in schools dropping my kids, especially children. There's a lot of jams there.
Yeah.
So I couldn't be there. Fortunately, I did not work in an office. I worked from home. So at least that part, I didn't have to use transport and, of course I could not drive anymore. So people needed to plug in to do these things for me. And so my husband got a lot of help from my friends, but I have to say thanks to him because my husband drove me to every chemotherapy session.
Bless.
Yeah, he stayed with me as well. But a lot of my friends also came along. So there was sometimes he would drop me and he has to run to a meeting. There would be someone. So I never did even one session by myself.
That is amazing.
So
and with that, we've come to the end of part 1. We'll leave that a cliffhanger, but when we come back, excuse me, when we come back, we'll be looking at the common myth and misconceptions when it comes to cancer, as well as finding hope and healing even after. Guys, we're having this conversation on Women for Excellence. Stand by for part 2, where we continue on with the conversation beyond cancer.